Men who use the concept of obedience to justify abuse and violence towards their partners really need to check their Islam.
لا يمكن لأي رجل يدعي أنه يمارس العنف باعتماده على الدين أو أن الدين أمره بذلك.
So obedience is something that is given, not taken. You don't want someone to obey you because you force them to obey you. You want them to listen to you.
Under no circumstances should a man or a woman have to experience domestic violence, because our deen in Quran and Hadith is very clear about treatment of the spouses towards one another.
Change the term of obedience to just following. Trust and following.
Let's say الرجال قوامون على النساء, the part of the Quran, this verse.
فيما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وفيما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Allah doesn't use the word قيادة or رئاسة, but rather the word قوام. قوام means the leadership, but with the notion of caring, of loving, of guiding, all this within the word of قوام. So it is the quality which men should understand.
وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. This is the mercy, the most important part of the relationship between husband and wife.
The thing that we should keep, to please and keep happy is our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After Allah, what He has commanded, then everything else follows.
Allah fi nisa, ittaqullah fi nisa, فَإِنَّهُمْ عَوَانِكُمْ. They said to the man, make sure look after women. Your responsibility, Allah gonna ask you about them.
Before we get to that physical form of violence, way before, there's control, which is called coercive control. There is financial abuse, spiritual abuse, verbal abuse, and a lot of these behaviors that show up are justified.
Is that women generally are raised and socialized to believe that their happiness comes from keeping the head family member happy. And generally, the head of the family is a male figure, whether it be their father, whether it be their husband, whether it be their brother.
Community leaders who ask women to be patient for the sake of the kids are outdated, and they probably should be stripped of their positions of authority.
Patience is not just sitting and doing nothing or accepting. This is not patience. Patience is about doing.
Because all they're doing is perpetuating narratives that allow for abuse and violence, which are not consistent with what our religion teaches anyway, and they're creating harm.
And we need to also start educating women to saying, and boys, it's great. We all like to keep each other happy because it's human nature, but not at the cost of giving up your self-worth and self-dignity.
So I think it's a really simplistic idea to say you need to report. I mean, that's what I believe. But I think we also have to have empathy and educate ourselves to understand that it's actually not that simple.
And where does reputation come from? It basically comes from what is fed into the community, and it's based on people's opinion. So I believe that your self-worth, your self-dignity, and I call self-respect overrides all of that.
The impact of domestic and family violence on children is enormous. And I think that there's a lot of research to say that, some children don't recover, that they never get the help that they need, and that it can create generations after generations of that pattern and that cycle continuing.
We should treat each other in a way that gives a role model for those kids. Otherwise, we are just throwing glass on the streets, and this shattered glass will just hurt everyone passes by.
But as far as I'm concerned, in this country, we're still in a situation where 1 to 2 women die per week. We're in a situation where we know in minority communities it's underreported, because we all know through word of mouth that this is an issue. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's not knowing how, but we still don't do enough. And it's not okay.